morning, everybody. It's Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill and all of her children. Well, most of her children. I've fed and watered everybody this morning, and they've all decided to come and congregate with me in this stall. So this is our time of love and getting to see each other, bond with each other, and everybody needs a hug. Right, Bootsy? Well, Bootsy, maybe I misspoke about her because she's trying to headbutt me. Hugs aren't on the menu for her this morning. All right, so Moody and Mildred are finishing up their breakfast, and I want to share with you guys something today that I haven't talked about. And you're going to see what that is in just a minute. But first, I can't let the day go by without getting you guys a first-hand view of all these beautiful creatures. Good morning, Miss Biscuit. What you doing, sweet girl? What you doing? And I knew Jessie would find me. Jessie has to have a hug before we begin our day. It's just a routine. She doesn't get her day started without a hug, and that's either from me or Jason or both of us, right? She's just a hugger. And if she doesn't get her hug, her day just doesn't go right. So hugs all day, right, Jessie? That's right, sweet girl. Honey looking over my shoulder. Honey, on the other hand, she doesn't hug as much as she does. I mean, you see, she doesn't lean in for that hug like Jessie does. Jessie leans in. Jessie wants to be up close and next to you and really know that she's getting all of your attention. Right, girl? All right, well, I got to go talk about something that we haven't told everybody, and I know you already know, but that is about the Peacocks. So I'm going to explain everybody what happened to them and where they are. So y'all don't mind Gus's snoring. I hope y'all can hear me over him. But there she is with her one little baby and her other little baby who is not so little anymore. I haven't been out to take care of the chickens yet, and there's a reason for that. I'm stopped at the brooder, and the well summer chicks that are growing out here in the brooder in the grow out area without heat are ready to go outside. So before I go and take care of the chickens, gather eggs this morning, I'm going to get these 5 girls loaded up in our little carrier and get them moved into the egg mobile, and that's where they'll spend the rest of their days. So girls, are you ready for the big day? I know you are. Y'all are getting big. Your heads are not nearly touching yet, but it won't be long. And this little chick water, I'm having to fill up a couple of times a day. So a 1-gallon water will not fit in this space. I could put 2 chick waterers, but I knew that I was going to be moving them soon. So Bramble here. Is this Bramble? No, it's Sylvester. So Sylvester here, I knew that you were nearby, is going to help me by supervising the chick move. Right, buddy? He's found himself to be more attached to me than the other 2 for whatever reason. And I appreciate him with his beautiful long whiskers. All right, girls, here we go. I may have to have Jason help me because they tend to want to go all the way to the back. But maybe, just maybe, I can make it work. Right, Sylvester? All right, girl number 2 going in. There we go. All 5 of the well summers are loaded up in this carrier, and I'm headed to the coop where they're going to live for a little bit separated, and then we'll release them with the rest of the chickens. Before I get the chickens fed and collect eggs, we're going to go back to the back of the chicken coop where we have a door that separates this area from the rest of the coop, and the young girls can get used to the older girls. Now, the Rhode Island Reds have been let out, but right now, let's see, there are 3 that have made their way back in here, which is fine. I mean, this is the inside of the coop. We've left this door open for them to come back in and sleep in a familiar place if they choose to do so. But it's been, let's see, 5 days, and they are well adjusted where they can sleep with the rest of their flock on the purchase that we have. So well, summer's going in, door will be closed, and Rhode Island Reds will be officially members of the flock. Let's get these girls unloaded. This is the start of the rest of your life here at Cog Hill Farm. Come on, babies. There you go. Look at here. It's the big wide world. Come on. Come on, girls. All right, come on. Number 4. Come on, number 5. There you go. You got it. Move out of the way. I'm going to go get you girls water filled up. And I've already got you a feeder set up. And this is going to be your new home. I hope you like it. Yeah. Yeah, they're growing so nice. So one of the ways that you can tell as a viewer the difference in between our newest hens that we've added, which are the Rhode Island Reds, and the older hens that are already in this coop, is by their backs. And most of our chickens are going through what they call a molt. This is a process of losing feathers and regrowing new ones. All chickens go through this process once they reach a certain age, and they don't look very pretty. So it may be a question that you guys have had about, why are your chickens missing feathers? And that's the reason. Some of them are going through what they call a hard molt, and some of them have just started. But nonetheless, they're missing feathers. So the Rhode Island Reds, the pullets that I just put in here, are not missing any feathers because they're not old enough to go through their molt yet. And when a molt process happens, egg production is lowered. So I don't know how many eggs we have today. I'm about to go gather, but I'm not surprised from day to day if the number goes down, because it takes a toll on these girls, and it's just part of a process. Here's one of the new girls mingling around, and then let's see, I just saw another one go by. This girl right here, she's not in the middle of her molt yet, but you can see that she's starting to miss some feathers on her back. So her molt is about to start. And that's just the thing about chickens, is not all of them molt at the exact same time. So your egg production is going to be lower, and not necessarily all at one time. However, it can happen at one time. It just depends on your particular flock. Got a girl going in the box as we speak. She has not laid her egg yet, and she decided that she'd let y'all see how she slips in and is so careful when she enters the nesting box. Let's see what we have. All right. Ta-da. 2, 4. All right, so I got their water filled up as well as their feeder, and it's normal for them to want to hide out in a corner until they figure out why they're where they are and that this is where they're going to be. But I'm just going to let them be, and they will get adjusted, I promise you. So I'm going to go get eggs cartoned up, taken out to the stand, and share with you guys about the peacocks. Our neighbors may be a little disappointed this morning because I'm only going to be able to put 1 dozen eggs out by the roadside stand. But when chickens molt, that's the way it is. So not only do we have a decrease in eggs, probably everybody that has chickens has noticed some form of decline in their egg production. So we just take care of our chickens the best way we can and know that they'll be back to full production in no time. But in the meantime, somebody's going to have a good breakfast. If anybody ever doubted the intelligence of an emu, let me just show y'all proof that they actually do have a good head on their shoulders. Can y'all see across the pasture? There's that one small oak tree. I'm sorry, I'm not real good with working the zoom in yet, but that one small oak tree is providing a shadow. And those two emus have chose to be in that shadow versus the rest of the pasture that's in the sun. Now they could go to the other side on the pond side and be in the shade, or they could come up here to the barn where they have access to their stall that's in the shade. But it's pretty smart to know that they realize that's the shade and that's where they're going to be. Except for Nugget, you know, he hears me talking and he's got to come visit. Hey, buddy. I can't just, I'm going to have to set my eggs down and give Nugget some loving. He walked all this way out of the shade to come and see me. And if I walked off, that may break his heart. So down goes my stuff. Hey, buddy. How are you this morning? I was just talking about how smart you are. Yeah, you're such a smart, handsome fella. And Goldie, on the other hand, well, she just kind of does what Nugget does, I think. I'm going to give the credit to Nugget. I'm going to say he's the smart one and she follows him. However, Nugget, it may be the other way around. I'm just giving you the credit because you've been here longer. Okay, buddy? Well, I got our eggs in stock sign turned around the proper direction, indicating there are eggs in the cooler. We have had 2 female peahens for the past 3 years at least. And earlier in this summer, a predator got our oldest peahen, whose name was Ozella. She was sitting on eggs and lost her life. So in June, our other peahen, named Miss Lewis, we found on a clutch of eggs in a very safe place. So we were so relieved to know that she chose a safer location than her mother to sit on eggs, and that was in a pasture that is fenced in under a shelter. So she had 4 eggs and she sat on those, and around the 1st of July, those 4 eggs all hatched out into baby pea chicks. Well, we went on vacation, and when we left, those pea chicks and her mama were starting to wander outside the fence area, which I was not happy about, because one of the benefits I felt of her laying in this area was that she would probably keep her chicks in this area and keep them safe. So we had our friend Cathryn over at G&G Farm to come and feed for us. And she laid eyes on the chicks and the mama one time while we were gone. I was happy that she had at least laid eyes on them because I knew they were safe. But I didn't know where they were going or what they were doing. Now, in the past, Loretta wants to say hey, so hey everybody. That's right. In the past, when we have had peafowl, they form a flock. And when they form that flock, they don't necessarily want to stay in one location in our experience. When it's an individual peahen, peacock, they don't tend to roam as much because they don't have that flock feeling to want to have to go and find and act like a wild bird. So that's what happened. We got back. We rarely saw Miss Lewis and her 4 chicks, but we saw them enough to know that they were all alive and they were safe. So that leads me to what we ended up doing. From that point forward, I started seeing less and less of Miss Lewis and her 4 babies. And I knew that they were going into the wood line that is back behind me over here, where there's a house, and then there is a neighbor's garden through the woods. So let me just show y'all how far they were going and why this influenced my decision. I'm going to take y'all on a ride on the side-by-side. We're going to go out of my gate, and I'll show you where. I'm riding along in front of our property where there's a house next door to us. And then you can see the wood line that goes along the edge of our property. So that's where I imagined that they were spending most of their time. But that wood line continues. And this property belongs to another neighbor. You can see we're getting kind of far away from home. So here we are. And behind that fence is this neighbor's garden, which is not there right now because obviously it's the end of the season. But this was his summer garden. And one day I got a text from him asking if I was missing a peacock. Now this neighbor, he's very nice. He did not, he wanted us to get the peacock back home if she was out of an enclosure. He had no idea if that was the case or not, but he just wanted to do that for her own safety. So I told him it was ours and that she wasn't kept in a coop, she was free range, but I would come and get her, and he said no, that wasn't necessary, she wasn't bothering anything. Well, peacocks can take care of a garden in just an amount of no time. So knowing that they were coming this far to a neighbor's property where he had a garden, I had to make a decision. And my decision so far has worked very well. I decided to rehome 3 of the baby peacocks, Peacocks, to my friend over at G&G Farm. Cathryn is a wonderful caretaker. She's a deer rehabber. She knows how to take care of animals, and peacocks were something that she had wanted for a long time. So for them to be as young as they were, a little less than 3 months old, it was a perfect time for me to rehome them if I was going to do so. Marycarl told me one morning, "Mama, I've got the peacocks. Do you want me to close them up?" And at that point, we really hadn't decided what we were going to do. But I knew I needed to make a decision. And so I told her yes. And I reached out to Cathryn, and she had an enclosure already ready for them. So we loaded up the 3 and left Mama, Miss Lewis, with 1 peachick. Because I felt if she only had 1 peachick to care for, she may stay at home, and she may decide that the best thing for her to do was to stay with her initial flock versus trying to form a feral colony of peafowl, which my neighbors in the end would not appreciate. So I rehomed the peachicks over to G&G Farm, and I want y'all to go follow her because she has a video where she took them in from me, and then she's also going to post a follow-up video this next week, and I'm amazed at the job that she's done with making these babies friendly. Now she will keep them in an enclosure until she feels like they're going to stick around. Getting them from a young age will help with that process because they tend to want to roam. It's just in them, and you can't take that out. So y'all don't mind Gus's snoring. I hope y'all can hear me over him. But there she is with her 1 little baby and her other little baby, who is not so little anymore. But seeing them over here and knowing that they're staying nearby makes my decision that much more settling with myself. I don't really know if that's the word I'm looking for, but I'm completely satisfied knowing that she's no longer roaming. She's sticking around the property. Marycarl's pigeon loft is right here to my right. You can see all the beautiful birds lined up, but they're just on the back side here where the bees are, and that's where she's been since I rehomed her other 3 children. So please understand why I did what I did. It was for their safety, as well as the mom's safety. So here they come back to this area. The baby is, probably can't see her, she's behind her mama, and they're still too young to determine the sex. So it would have to be a DNA test at this time to determine male or female. Marycarl came up with a cute name for what I've been calling James Beard, or JB, and that is Not Scott. So that's Not Scott. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video update on the Peacocks, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I forget to say that from time to time. Y'all be good.